Okay, so I'm just going to create like a box with a lid and maybe a drawer or something, just so you can get an idea of the layout of the design section of Fusion and the easiest way to do it, or the way that I do it anyway. So starting with a sketch on this plane, which will be the ground, create a 2-point rectangle up here, and just click, finish the sketch, click, extrude, and then you can pull it up or define the size. So I say 10 is fine, and then we want it to be new body, so it's already there, that's fine. And then if I want to change the dimensions of this, you just pull aside, extrude it, and then let's say I want that to be another 10 that way. I don't want it to be 50. And then join, because it's going to be this part of this, like this, extrude, another 50, join, okay. So now it's a little bit bigger. Okay, so when you create something like this, it all goes into bodies. Just creates this body folder for you, which is fine. You can leave it like that right now, and you can see it highlights body 1. So then if I want to create a top or a side or something else like that, then what I would normally do if it's going to be a square or something like that is go into bodies, click body 1, right click, and then move or copy, or click M, and it'll allow you to move it, and then you get this move tab up here. So I just want to move this up to create the top, but over here you can see create copy, click that, and then when you drag this up it creates a second one. Okay, so then I've got top and bottom, and you can see I've got 2 bodies in here. So you could rename them if you want in here, or just double click them. So body 1 is the bottom, and body 2 is the top, bottom. So then I want to create sides, basically. So what I'll do is take the top and click this eye, which makes it appear and disappear. Click top so that it gives me the top view. And I'm going to create a new sketch. I'm going to create it on this face, because that's where I want my sides to come up from. So back to the top view, create a new sketch, and instead of clicking a plane, I'm just going to click on the actual face, which means I can draw on the actual face. 2-point rectangle, it'll snap to these points, which is fine. So you got this section here, which is a sketch palette, and what I want is snap to be turned on, so that it gives me this snap feature. So one click there, and then as I drag this, it'll tell me that'll snap to like round figures, so 10 mil all the way along, and then another one over here, 10 mil. And then if I wanted, I could just keep drawing these bits, 10 mil. And then the front we'll leave just now. Finish the sketch. And then what I want is to extrude all of these up to the top. So click one, and then hold down Shift. Click, holding down Shift. Extrude, and then I can just drag this up or type in whatever I want. I want these to be new bodies as well. I don't really want to join these, because once I've joined them, they're part of everything that it touches. But I might need to have these disappear one by one. I might want to have them as moving parts later on. I don't know yet. So at the moment they're all new bodies. Best to create everything as a new body, in my opinion, just because I found it's easier for me. So there we have a box. And what I ideally want is for this to be a lid that can flip open and a drawer to come out of here. So if I want a drawer to come out of here, I'm going to take the top section and turn it off. I'm going to go back to top. It's the top view, and then I'm going to draw sketch. I'm going to click the bottom face again, and I'm going to draw the dimensions of the drawer that are going to go in here. So to start with, it's going to be, click rectangle, it would help. Click the dimensions of the drawer, which is going to be the inside dimensions of this. You know, ideally it would be, there'd be some clearance between here so it could move in and out, but for the purpose of this it doesn't make a difference. Finish that sketch. And that's a pane in the backside because it's snapped basically to this top face instead of this bottom face. So get rid of that. To get rid of it quickly, you can click Command Z on a Mac and it'll just go back a step. Or you've got this timeline, you can go back a step or delete stuff, whatever you want. So sketch again on this bottom face, just using a slightly different view to click the face I want, basically. Finish the sketch, click the face, extrude, and I'm just going to type in 5mm, in fact 2.5mm. And then the mistake I made there is I clicked join instead of new body. So back again, click extrude 2.5, and then over to here, new body. Okay, and then you can see it's a separate piece, which is what I want. And create a new sketch on that face, and I want to click blah 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 here. So I want this to be 0.5 in width, and over to the edge. So to jump between these two measurements, you just hit tab. So this is the one I want to be 2.5, and then it locks it, and I can drag these down. So then here, click the corner, and the wrong measurement there, so tab 2.5, locks that one, and I can pull this down to my click point, finish that sketch, and then all I need to do is zoom in, click. You might have to zoom into some of these faces just to be able to click them. Make sure that you hit shift whilst you're clicking them, otherwise they won't all select. And then extrude and pull it up. I want this to come up by, let's say 30mm, and then new body. Okay, so then we have the makings of the shelf thing. And what I'm going to do now is just create the front. So create a sketch, and I'm going to draw on that face again. 2-point rectangle, pick a fixed point like here, drag it out, 2.5mm, locks it, pull it over, finish the sketch, zoom in, click the face, extrude 30mm, and then because it's coming through a face, it's trying to cut it, so I want new body. Okay, and there's the shelf, drawer, sorry. Lovely. Okay, so now what I want to do is create the rest of the box, basically the front of the box section that would go up here. And we've still got a lid somewhere. Yeah, so I'm going to try and create a front face. So I'm going to click front. This is the front face. These are the dimensions here. I'm just going to click sketch. Now click it on this face because that's aligned with the front face I want to use. Rectangle, click. You'll leave a small gap here. Click. Finish the sketch, and then you can see that's in the position we want. And then click the face, extrude, and pull it back. You pull it back by 10mm, which is the same width as the rest. And you can join this if you want. I'm just going to go new body. Okay. Alright, so what I want to do is create another bed inside here, which would be where something would sit inside the top of this box, but not inside the drawer. So to do that, what I want to do is create a new sketch, and then the face I want to draw on is, I'm going to draw on this bottom face. And then I'm going to move the section upwards afterwards. No, I'm not actually. I'm going to create it on the top and then drop it down. So this face should be on the top, which it is. Click it. I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to extrude it up. I'm not going to do 10mm. I'm going to do 5mm. New body. Okay. With this body, when you highlight over this, it tells you at the left here which body it is you're touching. So body 7 I want rid of so that I can see. And this will be the last body, which is body 8. Hit M. And then I'm going to drag this down until it sits pretty much where I want it to sit, which is going to be about there. Okay, so there's the bed. We bring back body 7 and you can see we have that there. And I'll bring back the lid, and that's our lid. Okay, so now we've got a box with a drawer and a lid. So now what I want to do is I want to separate these items into components so that later on I can move them independently. So top, I'm just going to rename that the lid. Bottom is fine. Now the sections for the shelf are this and this and this. So the rest of it is fine. So these three I'm going to name drawer, and then they're all named drawer. Drawer 1 and 2. So now I know if I'm creating a folder or a component, then I can stick these three in. So if I was to create components now, I just right click on the folder that says bodies, create new components from bodies, and that's not what I wanted. Go back. So what I'm going to do is a new group first. This is going to be the drawer group, I'm going to highlight the drawer sections with Shift, right click, move to group. Over here you get target group, click that, select drawer and OK, and then you can see everything is in the drawer folder for the drawer. So if I hide the drawer, the entire amount of everything in that disappears and then comes back, that's fine. So now the lid, I want to be in its own one, so on the bodies folder, right click, new group, double click, lid, right click the lid, move to group. We've already selected the item, target, the lid folder and OK. And now that's in the lid folder. And then all this stuff is for the box itself. So if I was to highlight these, right click, double click, rename box, that's all box features, bodies, right click, new group, name that group, box, move to group, target group, the box group, OK, and then they're all in nice folders. Okay, so what you do is you right click on the very top here, new component, that creates another component folder, and then you drag in the body into the component folder and it copies it. And then the box I don't need to move. So these are the only moving parts, which are going to be the drawer and the lid. So this is the drawer. So just rename that drawer component. And then rename this lid component. Okay. And then basically when you click or unclick them, it makes them active components within the file. So at the moment, everything is activated. Now, if I wanted to add something like appearances to this, then whilst you're in this design mode, just click A, and the appearance file comes up. So I want this to be a wooden box, so I'm going to click the wood, find some nice wood like cherry, and you just drag it onto the relevant bodies. So for example, I want all of this to be cherry at the moment. It's all looking very box-like now. Okay, so let's say you wanted to apply fillets of some sort. You wanted to round some of these edges, which is fine. You would take the fillet tool and then you would click an edge, and then you can either drag it in and out like this, or you can type in an amount. So if I was to type in a 5mm radius, that gives me a 5mm radius on that side. Now I don't want that. Now obviously when you click this and you apply radius, you should click some of the adjoining lines here, and you just hold shift to find those. If I click 3mm now, then it rounds the entire section off, which is fine. So we'll say 3mm there, come over here, click, hold shift and click all the way down, fill it, and then type 3mm, enter, and then go all the way around and click these lines with Shift, fill it, email, and it's the same with chamfer. Fill it, email, there we go. We go to the top view, you can see the slightly rounded edges, which just makes it a little bit more professional looking. Up here is your viewpoint, or your viewfinder, whatever it is. The home button just takes you back to this normal looking view. Now, just so what I'll do is, just so you can see the parts move independently from each other, if I click the drawer component and then click M, I can then move this in and out. So say I wanted to keep it there, I just say OK. I think that's reflecting off of something else in there. It's this grey bit here. If I get rid of the drawer, that's a sketch file. So the sketch, that's a sketch layer that's making that look weird. So if you go to sketches and click the eye, that'll disappear. And then I can bring back these and it looks better now. And then let's say I want to open this lid. What I would do is click the lid, click M, and then over here I've got a rotate tool. Now I could use this rotate tool, but if I do that it's going to rotate it around the wrong axis, which is no use. So click the rotate tool, and then in here it's giving me a selection here, pick the axis. So if I go around here and I zoom in and I click this axis, because this is the point where a hinge would be, click that, and then zoom back out, and it's going to let me rotate that now around that axis. Click OK, and now it looks like it's nice and open. Very nice. So I'll leave it like that just now, and what I'm going to do is, to render it, I'm going to put it on top of like a podium. So if I want to render this on something, just click the top, pull out a bit, create a nice sketch on there. And I'm going to make a circle podium. Finish the sketch. My sketches have been turned off here, so turn them back on. Extrude. Take it down. Right there. Not join. New body. Now it's sitting on a little podium. I'm just going to change the appearance of that podium to a stone. I find this blue pearl is quite nice. Now the issue here is that it looks really, really pixelated and grainy and rubbish. So if you go up here where your appearance selections are from the past, you right click, edit, and then I can change the scale of this to look more like a real marble. And you can change the rotation and loads of other things. Right now we'll leave it like that. And then I'm going to click the fillet, click that edge, and I'll give that a 5mm radius. And then it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get something from GrabCAD, fire it into this model, and just show you how you can do that. So this is GrabCAD. I'm in the library. I'll probably have to sign up to get any of this stuff. I'm just going to find a pencil. There's a step file. Download. Unzip that. IGS. Okay. Go into Fusion and then go to Open from my computer, into Downloads, find the pencil, click the file that's highlighted, open. There you go. So that's it in Fusion. It's in a brand new file, which is not much use. So what you want to do is click this section here, Command C for copy, go back into your original file, zoom out a wee bit, Command V, there you go. Command V might not work, so right click and paste new comes in, and then it pops it in as a new component, which is nice and handy. Now it's awfully big, so I'm just going to move it, rotate it 98 degrees, take it down. I'm just going to stick it onto here. Now I'm just going to say OK, click the pencil again, go to Modify, Scale. So there are a lot of bodies in this file. Usually it's not as complicated as that. So you just click, hold shift, and click the last body, and then pull this down to a more appropriate size. My computer's really slow, so it's going bananas at the minute. That looks okay, just click OK. Okay, so that's a better size. Come all the way back up. Get rid of all that. Don't want to see that. There we go. Click the component, hit M to move. Now I want to free move this, which is the normal type of moving things around. Okay. What I want is for this to look like it's naturally sitting here and not placed here by me. It's a little bit diagonal. That's okay. Go back here. Activate those components just so you can see them again, and then you have a pencil sat on here. Okay, so now that we've got the podium we've got the pencil, we've got the box. What we're going to do is go into this section here, design, go to render. This takes you into the render workspace. Now we're in the render workspace, but it's all black. I'm assuming because we haven't set up any light sources or anything like that. So here where it says setup, click that and you get this library. And there's a custom environment setup, which is no good. So if you just double click one of these other environments, here you can see what we've made. So warm light it looks the most natural out of these artificial lights sources. You can see this looks a little bit better than it did, but still not great. So when I'm doing a render of any kind, what I do is I try and get a custom environment attached in. So to do that, you go back to Chrome, and this is the website I go to, which is HDRI Haven, and you can just download for free a bunch of these environments. And I don't necessarily want the background that's in it, I just want the light source, but I will show you what it looks like. So this is the one I want. Scroll down to download. I'm going to take 4K version, it doesn't make a difference really. And that's that one downloaded. Go back into Fusion, attach a custom environment with downloads, this one here, double click it, and it should load as a HDR environment. There we go. So if I pull that back there, here you can see we have a fairly realistic looking environment. Now, if I come back into my scene selection, now that that's selected, that's fine. Here we can control the brightness. Usually it's okay, around 1000. Position, we can move everything but the box. It just saves you moving the box around maybe 2 minutes. So let's just say like that for now. Background you can either set as a solid colour and utilise the light against a dull background, or you can just use the environment. We'll use the environment just now. In the ground here, you've got ground plane, flattened ground and reflections. I just leave this as it is. Flattened ground means place the item on the ground, which I just leave the way it is, unless I'm putting like a bottle on the ground and not on a podium. That's what I'll use. Roughness I'll just leave the same. Camera I use perspective with ortho faces. Focal length you can change as if you're using different lenses on a camera. I'll leave it at 89-ish, which is fine. Exposure, if you need, if it's blowing it out, the environment, you can move the exposure up and down. I'll just leave it roughly the way it was. Depth of field, click that, then you can have a focal point to focus on. So let's say I want to blur everything but the tip of this pencil. And the center of focus will be here. So in there we had an issue there with the ground plane, so just click the ground plane off and it came back. And then the blur, the only way to get a look at the blur is to go into in-canvas render, and that will try to sort of pre-render it and give you an idea of what it's going to look like with the blur. It's difficult because it doesn't render that quickly and it doesn't give you a really good idea, but you can see this sections are all quite blurry and horrible, and the focal point is here. So this type of blur is quite a lot. I usually put it at about 0.200. and then some of this will be blurred, but this will be fairly nice. Aspect ratio 16:9, that's what I leave mine at, and you can change it if you want, but it doesn't make a difference. It's just what's grayed out on this section here. This is the points that will be rendered, so 16:9 is fine with me. Stop the in-canvas render, and we could fiddle with some more appearance stuff. So say I don't like this type of wood. Let's go to wood again. Say I want the drawer to be mahogany or oak. That's the whole drawer basically is oak, and let's say I want the rest of the box or the lid. There's the lid as walnut. That looks rubbish. In here, if you have some of these and you don't actually have them downloaded, just click there and it'll download really quick, and you can drag it and drop it onto any of these faces or bodies. So when I drag them onto here, it's actually attaching them to the body, but you can attach just to a face. So if I want the very top of this to be a different colour, I'll go up here and go to faces instead of bodies, and then I'll drag one of these things. So I'll drag mahogany just onto the face, and you can see it changes just that bit. In this case, just find some fancy wood. This looks really strange. Go back up to bodies, back down to the wood. That's really mental. I don't really like that. Try this. That was better. So I'll throw this on. That's not as horrible. Some of these 3D ones are a lot better looking than these flat ones. These flat ones can be not great. You can see there how it doesn't look great, but these look a little bit better even before we've rendered anything. So if I download this 3D Maple, throw that one into the drawer component, that looks a little bit better. Right, so if I was going to render this out, I'll go back into setup, center that, and I'm going to go down to center focus. I'm going to click it off, which takes away this previous one, click it back on again, and I'm going to click just this center point here, and I want 0.100. Now 0.100 will give me like this outside section blurred, but this should be within focus. So if I go to in-canvas render and just get a sneak peek at how it's going to look, just zoom in a little bit. Whilst it's rendering, you can still move it around. So you can see there, that's not awful. Doesn't look that bad. So what I'll do is I will go into the render button and save it first. So save this box. That's fine. Back into render, being saved. There we go. Okay, so to get a nice quick render, you can use custom. To get my final renders, I click print, and then one of these options, it doesn't really matter, but 300 points per inch, pixels per inch, I have no idea. Local render means to render on your machine and to use your machine's power to produce it, which might take longer depending on how strong of a machine you've got. Cloud renderer sends it to servers owned by Autodesk, and they render it for you. That's why it uses some credits. I can't remember how many credits you get in total, but I've used this hundreds of times and still have some credits left somehow. I'm going to go custom, I'm going to go cloud render, I'm going to go final. I always do final, you can go standard and it uses one less credit. We'll use final just now. Native exposure, I'd never touch any of these, and the image size I don't really touch either. Click render, and then that comes down here into the render tab and it will render in the background. So whilst we're doing that, I'm just going to organize one more render, which is going to be a close up here. So if I want a close up of this pencil, I go into the setup tab again, and I'm going to change the center focus off, turn it back on, and to click at the end of the pencil, and I want to click these to the 150 in canvas render to get a peak. I can see that's going to be blurring a little bit too much, so I should have left that maybe at 100. I'm thinking even further down than that now, that's still a little bit blurry, so we'll go to 80. Maybe back to 100. Stop the canvas render. That'll be fine. So render, back to custom. I was going to make a really high quality render, which I will do this time in fact. 4:6 cloud final. You can use a local renderer if you've got a really good computer, but I don't. Render. And then we'll just wait for these to render out. Whilst that's doing its thing, I'm just going to show you how you can imprint something onto here, or to here, wherever it'll be. So if I go back to design, and I'm going to go into Illustrator, and what you want to do is create something in Illustrator. The reason you want to create it in Illustrator is because it's going to be a vector and can be scaled up and down without losing any quality. Doesn't get pixelated. We're going to create an SVG file. Fusion needs it to be an SVG file for some reason to accept it. But once it is, it's totally fine. And what we're going to do is use that to either emboss or deboss some words onto the wood. So hopefully that will open up soon. There we go. Okay, so we'll create a new file. The size of the file is irrelevant because we can scale all this up and down. So I'm just going to go to print, A4, and landscape. There we go. So create new text. And I'm going to say 260. Scale that up a bit. Okay, so we're then going to save, and then this section here we're going to do SVG. Click that, Fusion 360, save, OK, and our SVG file is ready. So then go back into Fusion. Okay, so to insert a SVG, click the face, find the file, double click, pull the file up, scale up, Alright, finish the sketch. So then all you do is click the sketch, click extrude, and then pull it back. Okay, so there you see, as I'm pulling it back, it's cutting into the wood. I don't want to go that deep, so we're going to go -1. Wait for it to load. There you go, -1 cut over here. Okay, and that's it, cut into the wood. So then go back into render, and you can see it's cut in. So now if I was to set up for another render, go to the scene settings, then to center of focus, click again, click there, take this down to 90, in canvas render, and then I'll blur out this little background sections here. Hopefully this should be in focus. What we'll do is stop the canvas render, we'll change the position to try and make the light a little bit more dramatic. See there, we're getting a reflection on here. Check the render. I'll just change the angle a little bit to get some light onto the wood. Keep turning. So you're just happy with it. So that looks a bit naughty, so we'll render that. Go final quality again. See what that one fires out. We'll have a look at these ones. You just click it and it'll pop up with the image, and then you can see that's not bad quality, looks okay. If I want to download that, I just click there and then download it as a JPEG or a PNG, whatever you want. Close that one, we'll look at this one. That one looks okay. You can see it's a nice crisp image on the tip here, and then we've got a little bit too much of the bokeh effect, so maybe 0.060 or 70 would have been okay. It would have given us a little bit more of this, but still, it looks okay. Nice reflections. It's not actually sitting on the surface. We're getting a gap here, but not a big deal. We'll wait for this other one to come through. What we'll do is we'll go into the animation. So this is where you can begin to move things in and out and create a video. And in here I've got a list of the components that can move, so I don't really want the pencil just now. I want this drawer to come out, and I want this lid to open. Now you can see here it's recording everything that I'm doing, as in moving in and out like this, it's recording it. So if I go back, and what I want to do is delete these other things that have happened. So what you do to start is click in this red section, and that means that nothing's been recorded as I'm moving around, because it will record every movement. So set it up the way you want it to sit. I want rid of the pencil. And what I want is to set the distance, sorry, not the distance, set the time you want the video to be. So say I want 10 seconds. What I want to happen in that 10 seconds is the next thing that I do. So if I click the drawer component, click M to move, and then pull the drawer out to here, and then click OK. On here, I can click back. That goes back to the start of the video, 10-second video, click play, and then you can see it moves the drawer out in 10 seconds. So back to the start, click into this red section because I'm going to be moving around, and what I'm going to do is click the lid, click M for move, and I want this to open, but I need the pivot point to be right. So click here to set the pivot point, make sure I'm in the red here so that it doesn't record any of this moving. Scroll in to the pivot point, and I'm going to select that back corner, and then this is important, you need to click back off that pivot point, come all the way back out, into the view that you want. That's the view I want, and then drag this over to 10 seconds if I want this to happen at the same time as the drawer opening, and then open the drawer however far you want to go, let's say 100 degrees, click OK, and you can see it's added the rotate to this. Click back, play the video, and now it's opening both sections in 10 seconds. So let's say I want the camera to move around whilst it's doing this. Then all I would do is click orbit. Now that's a constrained orbit that I want. I don't want a free orbit. Constrained orbit means it stays on an axis. It's a free orbit, like a constrained orbit around one axis like this. Okay, so let's say in the 10 seconds, whilst it does its opening thing, what I want is to pan like this. And it's recorded that movement. So you go back, you're in your original position, and you click play, and then as that happens, the camera moves at the same time. Easy. So let's go back into render, and you can see it's starting to just do that render now, which is fine. That pencil just looks in the way. So if I want to render this with some of these features out, then you just click the feature you want, click M for move, and just move it out, click OK, and then if I want to render it like that, I can render it with the drawer out, whatever you want. So it's all fairly straightforward. Once you've got all this set up and you put everything into lids and components, it's a lot easier. So remember, if you're trying to move this lid in the render section or the model section and not the animation section, you have to click rotate, click the pivot point, and then rotate as far back as you want. Okay, and then you've got this nice and open. And every time you make a new render, if you've done a a depth of field, center of focus, it stays in the same place until you click it off, click it back on, and then move it to somewhere else. So this, if I was to create this, set it to 60. That would look quite nice. So stop that and just check out this last render. That looks okay. You can see the difference here in grain of wood. That's important that you don't click join when you're making new sections. If you don't do new body, this would all be the same grain, but these in theory would be separate sections of wood. So here, how this grain is different from here, that's important. You don't want this grain to be flying all over this stuff because it's not realistic. You want that to be as close to real manufacture as possible. But there, just it shows you the engrave. It's quite nice. Okay, so back in here, I don't think there's anything else to show you. If there is, then just leave a comment, or if you know me, give me a message. Go on Instagram and give me a message. I'll be happy to make smaller videos on more detailed sections of this. For example, if you wanted to put hinges in here and you wanted those to move, or you wanted different types of engraving, or you wanted embossing, images put on here, maybe you want to make a glass bottle and put liquid in it or something like that. If you want me to do any of those things, then just leave a comment or get in contact and let me know.